it is very clear on any reading of the law that this law does not affect APMCs at all. It has no concern with the existing system of state APMCs. APMCs are protected as they were in the past, and they will not be affected in any way by the implementation of the new laws. The mandi system remains as it is. There were some concerns that there were no taxes stipulated in the law, for which we were willing to make amendments to consider their request that the taxes imposed on state APMCs under the APMC Act will also apply to private mandis or private marketplaces. The government was willing to provide that to ensure a level playing field and further strengthen the marketplaces, the APMCs of the government. Thereby, there was nothing left to argue about the APMCs for the farmers. Similarly, an absolute wrong impression was sought to be created that government will not continue the procurement under MSP. The government has very categorically, on the floor of the House, on national television, made it clear that state procurement by the government will continue at MSP prices as at present through the APMCs, and all the necessary taxes and other charges paid to the state APMCs will continue. This should completely dispel any falsehood being sought to be propagated that MSP system will get affected. Similarly, on the law itself, some arguments were sought to be made that the law could not have been enacted by the center. Very categorically, none of the laws is in the state list. They are part of the concurrent list, and trade is what is being sought to be encouraged by these laws. Therefore, there should be absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that the center has the power to enact laws under the concurrent list for trade, particularly in foodstuffs, which has been very elaborately defined in the concurrent list, and there are several Supreme Court orders which have further elaborated on this subject, and therefore the center is very competent to enact these laws. There were some concerns that farmers will be forced to sell their produce in the private market. This is completely erroneous. I would like to confirm through you to the nation and the farmers of the nation that there is absolutely no provision in the law which brings an element of compulsion on any farmer whatsoever. The farmer is only being given another option, another choice, which will help him to expand his area of business or trade. He's being allowed to sell wherever he wants, whenever he wants, at whatever price and terms and conditions that he feels is good for him. If he still chooses to go to the APMC market, there is absolutely no stopping him under the laws. So while there is no restriction on the farmer, it is only an option. It is opening new doors for the farmer to expand his income, to become more prosperous, to go in for more profitable crops, to look at alternate agricultural produce which fetches them better market. And while preparing the law, every care has been taken that the farmers has an upper hand in the agreements that are made with any contract, under any contract or with any trader. In every law, we have stipulated that the farmer's land will be secure. No court, no SDM, no authority can pass any order whatsoever which will impact the farmer's land. The farmer's land will remain the farmer's land, and there will be no law, there will be no attaching the farmer's land under any circumstances. However, since the farmers raised an apprehension, we were willing to consider If it further needs to be strengthened or clarified, the government is happy to consider that. Similarly, all the agreements that are made under this law are in the favor of farmers. So in case the prices in the marketplace, even after the farmer has entered into an agreement, rise and he can get a better price going outside the contract, he is free to go out of the contract and sell to anybody he likes at a higher price. All that he will be required to do is pay back any advance that he may have taken under the contract without any penalty and in a reasonable time. No restriction is also put on him in terms of time. The SDM can choose to give him any amount of time to repay only the advance without any penalty. So if prices go up, farmer has the choice to sell outside the contract, or if the contractor is willing to pay the higher price, the choice is of the farmers. Similarly, if the price were to fall below the contract price, the trader does not have the option to wriggle out of the contract. Trader is still bound by the contract and he will be bound to pay the farmer the contracted price, even if the market price goes down. So friends, in every situation, whether price goes up, it is to the advantage of the farmer. If the price goes down, it is still to the advantage of the farmer, because the trader will have to pay him the contracted price and cannot take the benefit of lower prices. If the trader does not buy the produce at the contracted price, in our wisdom and our feeling that the farmer should get quick justice, we provided for a local dispute resolution mechanism which can be decided in the contract. If it's not decided, the local SDM has to decide a dispute within 30 days compulsorily. Some farmer leaders tried to say the SDM may not give an order in favor of the farmers, or maybe he may be under pressure of the trader. Government was willing to provide the option that the farmer can choose any available laws for dispute resolution. So our proposal to have the SDM within 30 days decide will not in any way affect the farmer's right to go to a court of law or any other dispute resolution mechanism that is available to the farmer today. On the Electricity Amendment Act, the government was very flexible that the current system would continue and state discoms would be given the subsidy by the state directly to the discom. The current system of providing subsidized power to the farmer would continue as at present. Similarly, on the ordinance for pollution, which we have recently enacted, largely it has been on the guidance of the Honorable Court. However, we were willing to discuss with the farmers and come up with a solution which would adequately protect the farmers and ensure that they were not in any way taken to criminal proceedings or to the high levels of penalties up to which the current ordinance goes. That ordinance, high penalties are largely meant for industry or industrial pollution, and the government is committed for the well-being of the farmers. So the parali issue, the stubble burning issue, government was very, very sympathetic to ensure that the farmers are not put to any inconvenience in that. Appealing to the farmers, this is a period where we are fighting against corona. The weather is turning very adverse. This morning was fully foggy in many parts of northern India. The winter has set in. I would like to earnestly appeal to our farmer brothers and sisters and to the union leaders that they should allow the farmers to go back to their homes, continue the dialogue with the government and find an amicable solution so that we can dispel any other apprehensions which they may have in the interests of the farming community.